Welcome to the video Vort. Hishamer Lecha says the pasuk, be careful and only offer sacrifices on the Mizbeach in the Beis Hamikdash itself. Outside it is prohibited. The Sifrei comments on this pasuk and says, B'chol makom asher tira tamale. You may not offer a sacrifice anywhere you want. Aval tamale b'chol makom sheyomer lacha navi. But you may put a sacrifice on an altar anywhere where the Navi tells you, even if that place is outside the hallowed space of the Beis Hamikdash itself. Case in point, concludes the Sifrei, K'derech shehela Eliyahu Bahar HaKarmel, just as Eliyahu did in his famous showdown with the false prophets, he offered a sacrifice on an altar outside of the Beis Hamikdash. The question is, what exactly is the Sifrei adding here that we wouldn't have already pretty much understood by a basic read of the pasuk itself? Rabbi Yehuda Ginsburg in his Yalkut Yehuda suggests two fundamental principles. Number one, that Judaism eschews change when that change is being aimed at the fundamental expressions of institutional Judaism. Where you do the karban, how you do the karban, that's not just window dressing, that's not just a change on the edges, that's going to the core of things. And when it gets to the core of things, change may not be, change is certainly eschewed, if not forbidden altogether. But secondly, sometimes change is necessary, and sometimes change is the most logical thing to do. For example, the story of Eliyahu and the false prophets. There, Eliyahu took the sacrifice on an altar outside of the Beis Hamikdash in order to preserve the sacrifices on the altar in the Beis Hamikdash. The purpose of the change was in order to preserve Judaism itself, and therefore change in that sense was entirely justifiable. And this gets to the second principle, that even when change is entirely justifiable, it may, and when it goes to some of the core fundaments of Jewish expression of institutional Judaism, such a change may only be wielded in the hands of a skilled professional, a Navi himself. Outside of that, one should be very, very, very reticent to engage in changing core principles or core expressions of Judaism. We live in a time where traditional Judaism traditional Torah observant Judaism is under challenge from many, many different quarters. And the question that we have to consistently ask ourselves are these changes on the edges, or are these going to the core fundaments of Jewish belief? And if they're at the core fundaments of Jewish belief and practice, then we have to pray to the Ribono Shel Olam for the appearance of a Navi, Mashiach Tzidkenu, so these changes, which seem evidently legitimate and justifiable, can in fact be ratified and put into practice. Good job.